Three, two, one. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Grab My Banner Boxing Championship podcast. We had ourselves a ball at GMBBC number 7. I am joined here today with Schmazy, the number one mod. He was on last week's episode. Schmazy, say what's up.
What's up, guys?
We are here ready for another episode. And Carter, we had one crazy event last week. Lots of stuff to talk about. But overall feelings, how'd you feel about last week?
It was a fun weekend of fighting, and then we had a few things after, but I enjoyed it mostly because I boxed and some other things happened that we might talk about.
Yeah, and we've we've got so many storylines. You actually did really well in the ring. We'll talk about that later when we get to it. But
Thank you.
Let's start off with the top 10 list because a lot of movement happened, and I think the biggest storyline here, Carter, we have a brand new number one after about 3 events. Coochie Lord had been holding on to that spot for dear life, but our main man, Midas, the Golden Touch, he is our new number one. So congratulations to Midas. He's at the top. Right behind him is the Coochie Lord sitting there at number 2. Then at number 3, we've got Benny Boy. Number 4, BBOGR. And number 5, Nexus Radiant. So our top 5 looks pretty much the same, just a swap in those first 2 spots. But either way, top 5, those guys just continue to be the solid fighters, the guys that are really hard to shake. You might be able to beat them in a round or 2, maybe even a fight. But to beat them twice in a row, it's extremely difficult.
I agree.
Then we move on to number 6, where there's Chicken. We've got Tokir at number 7. We've got Maddox at number 8. And then we have Travie Patty at number 9. And Carter at number 10. We don't have anybody because
we have an open spot.
We've got a wide open spot, and it wasn't supposed to be like that. We actually had a guy at number 3. His name was Cookie. Unfortunately, he has taken a leave of absence. Some things have gotten in the way. Things as big as Loba's cheeks, one might say, have clouded Cookie. So no longer in the top 10.
That was pretty cheeky of you. By the way.
It was cheeky.
I like that.
So Benny Boy back into that 3 spot, like we said, and the number 10 spot is wide open, and there are a slew of people who could fill into this 10 spot. And we will talk about that in a second. But let's first talk a little bit about this top 10. How accurate do you think this is of the best fighters in the league right now?
I think the top 3 is pretty solid right now. You said earlier the top 5 is pretty hard to get into, but I think 7 might be a solid. I think Tokir might be moving up again. He's just had a little bit internet interference with his boxing, but once he is locked in, I think he can break top 5 easily, and then we'll have a solid 7 list.
I agree with you, and I honestly think not Tokir, but Maddox. Maddox didn't fight last week. Maddox is one of those guys. He's like a Midas descendant. They're both very good at Pathfinder, and they're both very good at counterpunching and dodging, which a lot of fighters in this league, they're not the best dodgers. They're kind of just brawlers. They just go in, try to get you with as many punches as possible. Midas, what's made him so good is he can dodge, which I don't know how he does it. It's insane how he does it, but he does it very well. And Maddox is the same way.
Yeah. So what's actually interesting about last fight with Midas was when he was going for that number 1 spot. So he's like a baiter kind of like a bait. He like baits out the box or the punch and then goes in. But when he was going against who is he? Coochie Lord?
Yeah.
He actually used 3 different legends. He used Pathfinder, or not Pathfinder. Who's Revenant?
No, he did use Pathfinder. He used Revenant. No, you're right.
No, he didn't use. He
Revenant,
Horizon, and then Blood. He tried to beat him on his own legend, which I thought that was.
And then in round 5,
big move.
Yeah, and then in round 5, he finished it off with the Pathfinder, I think. So yeah, he kind of bounced around. Some might even call him. You said he was a very good baiter. Some might even call him a master baiter. He's just so good at like moving.
He's pretty good at it.
Very good, and so he's doing great. The other thing, like you said, you brought it up. We are seeing lots of changes to this boxing league, right? We're seeing guys switch legends in between fights, use like those picks differently, knowing how to get under the other fighter's skin. You know, early on in this boxing league, it was like you stick with one legend and you kind of just go for it. Now we're seeing people, you know, counterpunch. We're seeing guys, you know, switch legends. We're seeing a lot of different strategies come out. And it's not like these guys are doing nothing until the boxing tournament. I mean, you look at the Grab My Banner Discord, there's people like, hey, let's practice. Hey, let's practice. These guys are going into the ring and they're working hard on their craft.
They are. I think now we're seeing a lot more trying to counter your opponent, saying like, I can't expose your number one boxer's weakness better than you can like use him, pretty much. And that's what like I feel like how Midas got to the top was he was the first one to basically counter other people. Everyone would just run their normal Bloodhound, their normal Octane. They wouldn't switch off. And Midas kind of just exposed them by just countering them because he got good with a few, probably 4 or 5 different boxers.
Exactly. So that is the top 10 list. We're looking for a number 10. If you think you can be number 10 and maybe you've never boxed before, why don't you give it a shot? Head into the Grab My Banner Discord. Ask any of us. We'll give you a link to get in and say, hey, man, let me box. Go ahead. We'll give you a shot at the 10th spot. We've got a lot of fighters open, and maybe you're not that competitive, but you want to head into the ring. You can fight in the open fight hour that we have every single tournament. Head in there, say, hey, get me a fight. I'll get you a fight. There you go. Now you're moving on up in the world. Let's move on, Carter, to some of the storylines we have from this event. We're going to start with our host, our one of our favorite hosts, Brian.
Yep.
He had a tough week. He went 0-4, didn't win a single fight, and not only did he go 0-4, he also lost to another podcast host, Kyle, and that was a tough look.
That was especially losing to another host. That it's not fun because going into next podcast, like Kyle's probably he's gonna be chirping at Brian a little bit.
You can
Brian
definitely expect that.
Yeah, Brian being 0-4. I mean, who isn't surprised that he's 0-4? It's just how he did it once again. Like Kyle round 3, Travi Patty round 3. I don't even know who else he lost. Just anybody, pretty much. Oh, Midas round 3. It's basically round 3 is his nemesis.
Now, it sounds like we're shitting on Brian a lot, which we tend to do, but Brian can take it. He's a grown man.
Yeah.
But here's what we got. Let's say some good things about Brian here. He won a round against Midas, who is the number 1 boxer, and it was a convincing round that he won. I believe it was round 1. Absolutely dominated Midas. Now, to Midas's defense, he did try a very weird strat that didn't work, and then he proceeded to beat the living shit out of Brian in the next 2 rounds. But I mean, 1 round against the best boxer, you know, that's something to talk about. He also took a round against Kyle, a very convincing round 2, and he took a round against Travi Patty. He just has trouble finishing off the fights. That's been his problem.
Yeah, he's not a finisher,
so he's got to work on that a little bit. But 0-4. He also loses to Kyle. That's tough. Another storyline, Carter, you stepped into the ring for the first time, and you didn't step up against some bum who just came off the
like Brian. Yeah, I'm not gonna fight Brian.
You stepped into the ring and you fought Midas, the number 1 boxer, and you didn't take a round, but you got damn close both times. You had him down to the last punch on each of the last ones. How did it feel getting into that ring?
Going into it, I probably spent 30 minutes preparing.
Okay.
And something happened that is a little controversial. You didn't allow me to wash my hands prior to my boxing, which was a big deal for me. So that's living in the back of my head. Mm-hmm. I step in the ring against the number 1 boxer, and I'm thinking to myself, just don't embarrass yourself. Maybe get at least 2 punches on Midas. That's all I'm asking for. Horizon v Horizon. So we got a lot of verticality here. And surprisingly, like my aerial combat was pretty good. And then once we came down, I lost him in the sauce and he just dumpstered me in the last 2 punches.
That's the problem with Horizon 2, especially when both ults come out. You have no idea what you're looking at, where they are, and you're getting sucked into the middle of this black hole, and you're like, okay, this sucks. But credit to you, you stepped into the ring, you went up against the number one. Now, say you wash your hands, you get some Suave soap, lather it up a little bit, warm water under the sink for 40 or so seconds.
Nice and hot water. Oof.
Yeah. Do you think that changes things?
Well, it allows me it's like my hand-eye coordination. So my eyes are perfect, but my hands, that's where like the washing comes into play. Because if they're at 90%, like maybe I look a little too right. I don't look up all the way, and that's how Midas beat me. So I'm not saying I would have beaten Midas 2-0. I'm just saying maybe it was like a 1-2, and maybe like something happens. I'm just saying the hand wash played a role. I don't know how large of a role it played, but it did allow me to lose 0-2.
The Achilles heel was the hands this time.
Exactly.
It was the hands this time. We also we already talked about this, but we have a new number one, Midas. He was one of those guys who worked his way all the way up from the 10th spot and went in and got into that first spot. Midas is obviously one of the more active members in the Grab My Banner Discord, and we have a lot of active members who don't box, but this one, he can box, he can stay active. It's nice to see somebody new step into the number one spot.
It is very nice, especially for Midas on his side. He came out of nowhere. He worked his way up and took over the one spot, and that's just a good look. It's just saying like you can do it.
The other big storyline was yours truly won his first ever fight in the ring up against Ellen Cryptic. Yo, it felt amazing. I got to say, I lost to Travi Patty the fight before, and it was not good. I think there was a round I only landed one punch, and it was like the final just like garbage time punch, knowing I was going to die, and I was like, I just got to connect on one. So, but then I came in with Ellen Cryptic. You told me to switch it up to the Bloodhound. I swapped it over to the Bloodhound, and I did really well. And I was able to beat Ellen Cryptic. So I'm feeling good. I actually feel great. It was awesome to step into the ring. Now, I actually have a few more questions to ask you. How much different is it watching compared to being in that ring? Because for me, it was massively different. I was like, oh, shit, the fence is like literally right next to me.
It is smaller than it looks. And I feel like some people might get a little nervous, little butterflies going because that's their time to shine. But definitely watching it, you're like, oh, it's a pretty big ring. Oh, how they missed that punch. Like, why aren't they doing this? But like when you're inside and a dude's on you and you're hitting some blank melees, it gets you.
It starts to make a lot of sense.
And for you, Chat was also saying this, how your heirloom was slowing you down and hindering you just a little bit with all your blank melees.
Yeah, I was having a lot of those, and I was like, hold on a second. Maybe I got to listen to this chat. Maybe, maybe they're right for once. So
Chat's
I swapped it over.
Right. Come on.
They say that, but they're not. So then we swapped it over, did a lot better. So that was good. Last storyline, and this is more of news, I think, that we need to break. And I wasn't going to break this until much, much later, but Cookie left GMB. He left the boxing championship, so I figured now was the best time to say it. But Revenant is now banned from the Grab My Banner boxing championship. Ooh. I don't think too many people are not going to like this. Maybe only one person, which is Cookie, if he ever decides to come back. But it was just, it was overpowered.
It was cheesy.
It was very cheesy, and it was kind of sucking the fun out of some of the fights, man. Like it was like it would be like going up against Floyd Mayweather, but he has a third arm and he's just punching you with 3 arms and you only have 2. Like it was literally like that. Even if you had an advantage on Revenant, he would just come back in his totem. And then people tried everything to beat it, man. You got to give credit to some of these guys. They tried everything. They tried getting the totem, getting to the totem. They tried playing Revenant themselves. They tried everything. Credit to Cookie too for playing him well and coming up with a really good strat. But For now, we're going to ban him, and there could be more bans and stuff like that in the future. But for now, we're going to ban him. We do have Horizon kind of in the sights because she does have a punch glitch, but I'm going to hold on to that for now. I haven't seen anybody abusing the punch glitch yet. So for now, Horizon will still be available, but Revenant is gone. I think a lot of people are going to be happy about this, though, Carter.
I agree. Also, a quick shout out for Ella and Cryptic for the first one to beat Cookie's Revenant strat with Pathfinder. That was huge. I was going to say how that was kind of like the downfall of Revenant right there to begin with, just because it kind of shows people how to play against Revenant and how to beat him. So shout out for Cryptic for beating Cookie while playing Revenant.
I was going to say that too. And his strat was amazing. I honestly should make a YouTube video out of that. Just like, I know nobody would watch that, but I should, because his strat was crazy. The amount
just
of
like a breakdown.
Yeah, it was like the intricacy of that strat from Ellen Cryptic. Like he gets a zip line up to the broadcast booth, hops out of the ring, zip lines himself into the ring, grapples like I don't even know how to describe. It was literally insane. Like he does all this crazy stuff. But yes, congratulations, Ellen Cryptic. That'll do it for that. Let's move on, Carter, to our newest segment, MVP of the week and bust of the week. Do you want to go first?
I'll take first of MVP, and then you can take first of bust if you want.
Okay, all right, we'll do that. Who's your MVP this week?
MVP has to go to Midas the GOAT, Golden Touch. Just getting to that one spot, dominating, using 3 different legends in a one fight of a best of 5. Beating me. That was probably one of his top accolades, is probably beating me solely, because that's a really hard fight. Yeah. No one has actually beaten me. He was the first one to beat me, actually.
Yeah, he was.
That's wild. So congrats, Midas, for being the MVP for me.
Okay, and then I'll go to my bust. My bust is Ellen Cryptic. I know I just hyped him up, but I beat the living shit out of him in the ring, and he can suck it. No, I'm just kidding. I had a great fight, though, and I won using the Bloodhound, and he was using Pathfinder, I think, and it felt good to get my first win in the ring. But Ellen Cryptic is my bust this week, because honestly, Carter, if you lose to me, that's just embarrassing. It's not, you're not bad because you can bounce back. If he were to fight me 10 times, he'd win 9 of them, but I got this one. And it just so happened to be at the worst possible time when my confidence was, it has become a monster.
Also, was that before or after he beat Cryptic? I mean, after he beat Cookie.
After. So he beat.
Oh, so like he beat number 3.
Yeah, it would be like if you slayed a giant and then like you tripped over a rock and died afterwards.
Yeah, like that's the way you die. Is like
yeah,
not the dragon, like but.
So that's my bust. I'm going to go to my MVP, and my MVP is me, myself, and I getting my win in the ring. I just dominated in there. I felt like a god amongst men, just sitting there punching the shit out of Ellen Cryptic's face. It felt incredible. And there's no better feeling than winning a fight in the ring. I was ecstatic. Who's your bust, Carter?
My bust, shocker, by the way. This is going to go to Brian. 0-4, failed to get into the top 10 once again, failed to beat Kyle, the other host, which is a big loss, by the way. That's big. Midas, and I forget who else.
Travi
Patty. But once again, we have an open 10 spot that he'll fail to get in once again. So it's like, is it a bust because he hasn't even been good yet? It's just nothing good.
He's had some good days. He's had some bad days. He's had some days where like he'll win 2 fights in a row and then he'll just completely just lose it. Like, I don't know. I don't understand the psyche of Brian. He did do really well with me in the duos tournament this last week. But yeah, I mean, I can't really blame you for putting him as a bust. You know what you should do the next time?
We also,
what are you going to say?
Sorry to cut you off. Should we also say how Brian also lost to King in your tournament?
Oh yeah. Well,
I mean, in a gunfight.
Yeah.
I didn't want to bring it up, but
no, you did. You did want to bring it up. Yeah. I did get stream sniped by Kyle and King. They'll tell you it wasn't a stream snipe. It was 100% a stream snipe. I blame them. They can suck it for all I care. But yes, I did get killed. Me and Brian did get killed by Kyle and King in a stream snipe event during our tournament of all times too. That was probably the most frustrating part.
It was during like your last hour of fighting too.
And we were sucking. Like we were playing terrible. Like
there
so
was
bad.
a big choke. You had a big choke going into that game, so
Dude.
it was like it was just a build up, and then Kyle and King. Once Brian realized it was King and Kyle that killed him, you guys were, whew,
yeah, it was not good. It was not good. But yes, I can't really blame you for putting Brian as the bust right there. He had a tough week. Hopefully he can bounce back. He said he's trying to go for that 10 spot. Let's move on to the GMBBC number 8 preview for should be coming up this weekend. Now, Carter, we have a lot of fights that could happen in this one. None have been signed into submission yet. But we have a new number 1. I'm sure he's going to want some title defenses in there. You know, it's one thing to be number 1, but if you're number 1 and you defend your title over and over and over and over again, it really solidifies the fact in people's minds that you are the best. I don't know if Coochie's going to want to go for it, but we could see Midas's first test as a champion, and we could see Coochie Lord go at it again. Do you think in this rematch that Coochie Lord could have a chance to take back his number 1 spot?
I mean, if he mixes some things up, maybe he tries to also counter. But for Midas, maybe he gets a little relaxed up there at the number 1 spot. Maybe he stops trying to practice or trying to go over stretch before, and he's already number 1. What does he need to do? Maybe that will be a little downfall for him. But for right now, I still think Midas will hold on to anything.
Yeah, I agree with you, and we have Benny Boy sitting there at that number 3 spot. Now, obviously, I think BBOGR is going to want to gun for it. I don't think BBOGR has what it takes to beat Benny Boy 69 right now. Benny Boy is in this weird spot where he's still yet to take a number 1 spot. He's never been number 1, but he's been so close so many times. I would love to see Benny Boy get in there and get a real shot to take the number 1 spot. That's what I'm hoping for here. Let's move down towards the bottom of the list. We've got Travi, Maddox, Tokir, and Chicken. All of those guys are like on the outside looking in. They're hungry. They're young. They're trying to get in there. Who do you see coming out of that list that has like a legitimate chance to maybe crack the top 5?
Not to just crack the top 5. I think Tokir has a chance to crack the top 3, 4 easily. Give it 1 or 2 weeks. I think Tokir has it. It literally just comes down to his connection. Maddox, I'm looking forward to him fighting again. He took a week off. Maybe something's coming up for him. Maybe he has something up his sleeve.
So if Maddox and Tokir go head to head, who are you calling in that one?
Tokir. I would say Tokir. I would see well, first he has to get past not chocolate. Wait, what's this?
Chicken.
Chicken. You know why I forget chicken. I was like it's CH. I don't know what it is. Yeah, I think that'll be a good fight again. We saw that fight last time. Chicken took it, but I think Tokir, once he gets past Chicken, he'll ride some momentum to the top 5.
Tokir is funny too, because like he seems to only win fights when he bets like 5,000 bones on himself, and like I respect the shit out of that. Like
that's his confidence booster. He has no confidence until he's like, you know what? I need it. I need the 10K on me.
Yeah, I mean, imagine putting your whole life savings on yourself to get your confidence going. That's a power move right there.
That's a Brian move.
We move to the top 10, and could you be trying to get into this top 10? Now, actually, before I ask that, our number 1 boxer wrote an article. He wrote, his golden take of the week that Schmazy is a top 5 fighter in this boxing league, but I don't know. Are you going to try and get in here? Because you said last week that you're only going to fight maybe once per tournament.
Yeah, I wanted to only either fight Midas or like a top 4 boxer just once a week, just to kind of scare them and try and be like, oh, maybe he's for real. But now that there's an open 10 spot, My biggest goal right now is to keep Brian outside of the top 10. And if it comes down to me having to beat Brian, I think I'm going in and I'm going to sit
Wow.
on that 10 spot and I am going to basically body block Brian out of the top 10.
You're just gonna you're gonna Okay, all right. I see what you're saying there. That's actually awesome. You're just gonna gatekeep Brian out. You never
Yes.
want to advance, you just want to keep him.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, just basically keep him out.
So if you get to the number 10 spot, that's like your number one. Pretty much.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I might when I'm 10 spot, I might go into like the open hour fights and then like test Midas again. And if I start actually like pulling out some rounds, I might try and go for the top 5.
Okay. All right. Well, that should just about wrap it up for the show. Don't forget this weekend, guys, to head on down to check out the Twitch channel, Grab My Banner Podcast on Twitch. That's where we will be broadcasting GMBBC number 8. I should probably get a new acronym for our boxing league because it's a little
There's some
suspect.
issues.
Yeah, there's some problems with this.
It's a
So
little
I
sussy.
yeah, for sure. So I might have to change that. Either way, head on down to the channel, Grab My Banner Podcast on Twitch. So head on down there so you can watch us fight. As always, I will be on the call, maybe with Kyle with me. For sure, Carter will be there, making sure you play some bets and make sure you play some bets. Have some fun. Get your bones in there, throw them in there. What else are you going to use channel points for? It's not real money. Have some fun with it. Bet on some of your favorite people, even if they suck. Just bet on them anyway. It's always fun. You can roast them a little bit, be like, yo, I bet 10K on you, and you didn't even punch anybody in the first round. It's just fun. It's common, just having a good time with your bros. So go ahead.
Brian.
Yeah, he's big man Rain is sitting over there still fuming about that one. Head on down to Twitch. We're going to be broadcasting this weekend, getting those fights ready to go. Thank you guys for listening. We'll catch you guys next week on the GMBBC podcast. I'll see you guys later.
Wait, do we want to go over it?
Oh shit, I've totally forgot.
This is
Yes.
a special segment.
Special segment. We got an alert.
If you stayed here long enough to realize that wasn't the end.
Yes. Okay,
So,
fuck. I'm going to have to advertise that.
So, I've been thinking a little bit. Like boxing hour is fun, trying to get the top 10 list. But how can I make it a little bit more competitive? And I've been looking through the books, looking through my journals and diaries, and I thought to myself, what if we do a tournament, a double elimination 16 team boxing tournament?
Like the good old days.
Like the good old days. We already have a top 10. So if you're already in the top 10, you're solidified in the top 10 already. That means we have 6 open spots. So probably after 9 or maybe part of 9, the open hour week is where or open hour fighting session is going to be trying to figure out our top or bottom 6. And we'll have a 16 team or 16 person double elimination bracket, or like Midas at number 1 is going to be or boxing 16. If you lose, you go down to the losers bracket, but you can make your way all the way back to the grand finals. Personally, I love tournaments, so I'm going to throw out some prizes to like first, second, third. Just probably going to be Apex. What are they called?
Coins.
Yeah,
Yeah.
some Apex coins. This I'm looking maybe if Wyatt's down, maybe like a 2-day event.
That'd be awesome.
We get like the first we get to like the semis or quarters on the first day, and then the second day is championship Sunday.
Let's go.
That's where we go all the way to the grand finals. I'm probably going to have everything be a best of 3 until semis, where semis to grand finals will be a best of 5. Prior to this, I want to have a little voice chat meeting with some boxers, or if for any boxer who wants to be a part of it, and just go over some like GAs or roles or bands of what they want to be included, what they don't want to be included. So it is a tournament for the boxers, and it's not me just being like, oh yeah, everyone has to play Revenant and nothing else.
Yeah. So essentially, if we can get that organized, we plan on doing another tournament, throwing it back. And this time we'll actually have some prizes. Most of the time here in boxing, it's been just, you win, you get notoriety or whatever. But now it'll have some actual legitimate prizes. So you definitely want to be a part of this tournament. We might have some new faces in there. When you start throwing prize money around, a lot of people like to come in here and have a good time. Nobody is safe.
Nobody. Not even Midas. If that 16 seed's kind of nasty,
Mm-hmm. If they're a no name who comes out of nowhere, you never know.
Yeah, I think that this will be super fun, and it kind of rewards the people who have been boxing because they already got the top 10 spots right now. So it kind of rewards you for being a previous boxer because you're already in that solidified 10. You don't have to earn your rank, just the bottom 6.
Yeah. So let's we're gonna get that set up for everybody. Keep your eyes peeled. We'll probably make some graphics, get everything ready for that in the coming days. So pay attention to that. And then that should just about do it, right?
Yeah, I have nothing else.
Okay, cool. All right, so that'll wrap it up for the show. Now it'll officially be done. Last time that was a fake. I faked you. I faked you all out. Don't forget to head on down to twitch.tv/grabmybanner podcast to watch GMBBC number 8 this weekend. It should be a fun one. We've got a lot of new faces in the top spots, and who knows? Maybe I might hop back in the ring. Maybe Carter might hop back in the ring. I know Brian will hop in. Maybe even Kyle this time. Kyle's 1-0 in the ring on the record books. So check all that out. Don't forget to follow us on social media. And obviously, listen to episode 24 of the Grab My Banner podcast that just came out talking about the season 8 2-year anniversary. Listen to that bad boy. For Carter and for myself, we will catch you guys next time. See you later.
Peace out. Coming for you, Midas.